Jason
Jason
Bowen.
Bowen, that's it. He plays.
Bam! I knew I could pull it out.
He played in the Stragglers. He plays there every year. Matter of fact, I think
Doesn't Bowen do
Christmas
the
concert?
New Year's Day show?
Yeah, Christmas or New Year's. Yeah,
I think he does a New Year's Day show.
Yeah, and so he's a regional artist. Never made it big, but he was good enough to go big at one point. But I think home kept him home. I don't think he. If you're gonna make it the biz, you're pretty much got to Nashville. I don't think he ever got that way. Now, one thing that I was approached by a friend of mine who showed me a package. It was pretty cool.
Pardon me?
Yeah, exactly. He showed me his package. Where we're supposed to go with that, it's just a different package. Me? Yeah. He had some. He got some stuff from the boys from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
And Cody Canada's in it. It's the grower.
If you guys don't know who Cody Canada, we keep referring to Cody Canada. If you guys don't know who this cat is, jump on YouTube and search Cross Canadian Ragweed. And if you want to know strictly about what the red dirt sound from Oklahoma is, those guys epitomize. And what's he got now? Cody Canada, and he's got another band, Cody Canada, and I was going to say the Stragglers, but that's Bowen.
And the Departed.
Yeah. That's who we're referring to. And he happens, I'm pretty sure he's got to have some kind of interest in the boys from Oklahoma.
Yeah, he does.
It's got to be. Does he?
Yeah.
Because he shows up in some of their Instagram posts and this and that, and which anybody making, and there's a lot of you, anybody making money in the medical in Oklahoma, props to you. You guys, man, jumped in. You think the bottom's going to fall out of this soon, Tiddy?
I think it's starting to. I think there's so many grow operations going right now. There's several in the state, like our good friends over at Red Dirt Sungrown, or our good friend over there. They're okay. They're the largest growing operator in the state. They're not going anywhere. It's a lot of these small guys now. They're going to fall by the wayside because your big places are expanding even more and more and more. So, in Red Dirt's situation, they're growing so much under roof that's open to the sun. Like I might as well just say under glass, right? It's like a big old greenhouse, and nobody's doing anything like that outdoors. And they're adding on and adding on and adding on. Well, the thing about manufacturing is you manufacture a lot, and then all of a sudden the market's, I'm not saying the market's saturated, but the market's got, enough weed to go around to everybody that wants it now. But yet people are still expanding. So, they grow all this weed. Well, what are they going to do with it? Well, they got to sell it, right? They got to make money at it. But the prices on that is starting to go. And your smaller growers who, have, the overhead for a small grower is not entirely different from the overhead from a big grower. You got to have a place to grow it. You got to have lights, especially if you're growing it indoors, and most small places are. That's a tremendous amount of electricity that it takes to grow. Or if you're dealing with hydroponics, you're dealing with minerals, concentration of stuff in to feeds, and that's expensive. Well, if you got a lot of money wrapped up in it and you were making good money, and then all of a sudden you're only getting like $9 an hour. Well, crap, you used to get 36 or whatever. I'm just making the numbers up in my head, but my point is the shops are going to start paying less and less and less for this weed the more that there is supply, because supply and demand is drives everything. And if you have way more supply than you do demand, costs are low. If you have way more demand than you do supply, costs are high. And in this case, there's actually more growers out there, dispensaries. At some point, you're going to overload yourself on the pot. And that's exactly what Oklahoma's done. We have plenty now to go around. I think prices are going to start dropping quite a bit. And you'll see some dispensaries show it quicker than others. If you see some dispensaries really advertising sales and that kind of stuff, chances are they're needing
to keep generating business.
Yeah, they need to get rid of some supply before it kills them.
Mm-hmm.
Faux show.
Well, you are starting to see that here. I mean, you're definitely starting.
Yeah, there's places that have like $99 ounce, but all that really is just from the grower. all the, you get the flowers, you dry it and everything, and you got to transfer it from one place to the other. Well, you get the stuff that comes off of it, and sometimes there's trimmings and.
I don't know, man, because I have, man, I can't even tell you the last time I bought flour.
I know.
Show has turned into a total phone call between you
Yeah.
and I.
I really would. I'd like to go in a dispensary. That'd be really cool to invite.
Just hang out and just what are you gonna do?
Well, just to see what it's all about in there, because they won't let you in without a license.
Out?
Yeah, you can't get in without a license.
There's actually, yeah, they ain't gonna let you. You can go in like that little fort. That's the deal, man. There's so much technology in it. It's crazy.
And apparently, when they dispense it to you, you almost get like a similar label as to what you would get at the pharmacy.
Yeah, some of them are doing that now.
Yeah, and there's some places that put like the percentage of THC that's in it, or percentage of THC and CBD. That's another thing that I didn't know, and I really need to educate myself on the. There are strains out there that are like 70-30 indica, and what's the other?
Sativa.
And then it's also got CBD in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where my inexperience.
Well, the science of it's amazing to me. Like, all the different strains that come out, and they have different percentages of this and different percentages of that, and I mean, the science of it is just mind blowing. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
No, but
I'm too medicated to get down that rabbit hole tonight.
What would be fascinating to me is, how do you do that? How do you crossbreed? You get, not only, you got the Hatfields, and they're having sex amongst themselves, and you got the McCoys over here, and they're having sex amongst themselves, and all of a sudden you want to try to mix Hatfields and McCoys together, which sounds like a good idea in theory, till war comes out.
But it never works out well.
Yeah. So, but how do they do that? That'd be fascinating.
I mean, I know the premise of it, but actually hands-on how to do it, I don't know. That's one thing I excelled in school was biology. So, I get the premise of doing how to put my hands on it and actually make it happen. I wouldn't even know where to start. I'm sure you can YouTube it.
Is it like gene mutation?
Yeah. What do you they got atom smashers in there working or something?
Right. Do you got do you take the adenine off of this and replace it with thionine, or I can't remember, adenine and cyanine,
all those things.
Yeah, all those enes. Yeah. Let's get off the enes. I got something to say to our nation's youth. First off, don't be stupid and bring a damn gun to school. Don't. You're an idiot. Because you're going to be in trouble for a long time just if they find the gun. God forbid you come in there to do something with it. Just don't bring guns to school. If you're not Mr. Serial Killer and shoot up the school, don't bring guns to school. A, you look like an idiot. And B, that's a start of a career of being somebody else's bitch behind.
A second, did I doze off? What brought this up? What happened that we're talking about this?
Well, just like a week ago, kid brought a dadgum gun to school. Well, the kid.
How old was this kid?
It's like 17.
So he's an older kid.
Yeah, and when I say don't bring guns to school, kids, what I'm really saying is parents, lock your stuff up. Don't allow your kids. I guarantee you, most of these kids that go out and do these shootings are not smart enough to go in the hood and get a gun off the books. They're getting guns from their dad, from their uncle, from...
I don't know if I believe that.
Where are they getting them?
Here's why. Is because you got people that are NRA members and gun enthusiasts that teach their children about weapons. Those aren't the kids that are usually so fascinated with guns that they're going to take them into a school.
No, not at all.
That would be an interesting statistic. Of these kids that do that, how many of them were raised in a home guns were prevalent and not made to be a taboo?
Donnie, work on that. Good. Two things. Work on this taboo thing with the NRA versus non-NRA households and kids that grow up and the respect for guns, and then how do you crossbreed sativa and indica? I need to know those two things.
Well, here's why I say that, man, because growing up, with my dad being a cop, No, he'd come home and, I mean, especially then, man, cops, I mean, they don't just work that job at the city. A lot of them have part-time jobs. He'd be up for, 2 or 3 days working, home, tired. He'd throw that gun belt on a chair in the living room that nobody really sat in. And my brother and I never thought twice about that thing sitting there. Never ever thought about going over there and messing with the stuff on the belt. I mean, not even get the handcuffs out or anything. Never thought twice about it. Now, my brother had a friend that lived across the street, same age as him, and his parents had raised him that guns were bad, they were taboo, and you couldn't turn your back on Bradley, because if Bradley had the chance to get to that gun belt, that's where he's going. And that's why I've always thought it'd be really interesting, these school shooters, how many of these kids were raised and where guns were kind of under wraps.
Yeah, and now that we're going to take this even a little bit further down the road, I didn't even want to go with this, but
Sorry.
Okay, let's talk about families who hunt that have guns in the home versus families that don't hunt that have guns in the home.
Okay, yeah.
Your children that hunt with you, it's your obligation as a father to make sure that they use that firearm properly and use it very safely. And respect it. These other kids that grow up in non-hunting families don't know anything about respect of a gun, and honestly, those are the families where the kids are sitting around playing with dad's gun and one of them gets shot.
Yeah,
those kids are not from a family who uses a gun to provide for themselves. This is the dad that keeps a gun around for protection. And the two kids find it, and they're playing with it, and bam, Joey gets shot.
Yeah, I think hiding it and making it a big secret in a family like that, I think that's a big mistake, man. I mean, my dad always taught us from day one. I'll never forget, he looked me dead in the face when I was little, and he told me, if you ever touch that gun or any gun, you come get me, and I'll show them to you. And you can touch it when I'm in the room. He did that, and then when he taught me how to shoot a handgun, he took me out and had a milk jugs full of water, and he shot one of them. And he told me, if you play with a gun when I'm not around, that could be you or somebody else you just shot. And that was it hit me like in the feels. I was like, man, I just absorbed all that and knew how dangerous it. But that kid that across the street from us, that he was raised where it was a big secret. Man, he was obsessed with guns. It was even as a kid, I can remember thinking it was.
Yeah, to sum this up real quick, kids, don't drink double strength Gatorade.
And you'll be just fine.
Oh my gosh! All right, next thing. Nearly 700,000 Americans can lose their food stamps or could lose their food stamps, and I'm not sad about that a bit.
Why could they lose them? I don't know that. I haven't seen this headline.
What it is to encourage those who are 18 to 49 that are able-bodied and can work to go to work. 50-year-old and those who are disabled,
they get a little leeway.
Yeah, you're going to get a leeway. If you're disabled or over 50 and you need the food stamps, you're okay. But if you're 18 to 49, your food stamp benefits are probably going to drop. And you probably need to get a job. There's plenty of them out there. Unemployment could actually be a better number because we now have an excess of jobs available and not enough people to fill them.
God, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but it's just people won't go to work. I've always looked at food stamps and welfare for that matter. I don't know what they call it now.
Taint.
Yeah.
Taint.
Yeah, taint. So
I receive taint every month.
But I looked at it as it's a hand up, not a handout. Have I ever received food stamps? Yes, I did. When I had my last day in the military and then received my walking papers and was all of a sudden not in the military anymore and didn't have a job and had a family. Yeah. I seeked help and I got some food stamp. Even got a little money too. But within 2 months, I had a job and
moved on from that point.
Let them know that I have a job now.
I mean, but we've always said if you use it as be used, there's not a problem. It's to abuse it, Which that's a whole show in itself.
Oh, my
we
God.
can bitch about that for good God.